Welcome to BookHuddle. I'm your host, Karen Reader with Readgab. Today, our guest is Jessica Khoury. So, I really am so excited. I'm always excited to do this, guys. I love what I do. I love this, but this is just so exciting for me because Jessica is the author of one of my favorite books ever, The
Aw.
Mystwick School of Musicraft. I could not possibly have a single favorite, right? But it's definitely in the top five and one of the top two audiobooks I've ever listened to, and just incredible writing. So I was telling my husband when I was getting ready doing questions, I was like, I don't even know what to say. I'm just going to sit there and smile at her. So I've been really, really
Thank
excited.
you.
Thank you for joining us today, Jessica.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. I'm so happy you liked Mystwick, and thank you
Yeah.
for bringing it up.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yes, so Mystic was the debut, right? And then there's been a handful of others which I've been meaning to get to, but I have the hardest time
hmm
because I only listen to books that are not ARCs. And so I want to get to Skyborn and Ruby Code. She's written so many, but so when I saw the opportunity to read the advanced reader copy of Monster and Apprentice, I was so excited. I've been reading it to my kids. We are loving it like crazy. It is amazing writing. Can't wait to talk about it. Jessica, but tell us about you. What's
Thank
something
you.
besides that I'm fawning over you? What else can you tell us about you?
Let's see, besides books and authoring, let's see. So, right now, you may have heard of a little something called the World Cup going on.
I think I heard it.
I'm a massive soccer fan. I played through college, I've coached it, I've refereed it. I'm a big fan. I went to my first World Cup game a few weeks ago,
Oh, exciting. Which
which
game did you go
was,
to?
oh my goodness, we saw Spain, which is my favorite. I'm wearing their shirt right
Okay,
now because they
cool.
just played and they just won and they're going to the finals. But we saw Spain play Cabo Verde in Atlanta, and it
Oh,
was
cool.
just a totally surreal experience. So I've been having soccer summer for the past 6 weeks, and I'm so sad it's almost over because I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to work again,
Right?
go back
Right.
to
Oh,
writing.
oh man, shoot. Well, we'll
Yeah.
all be glad that you're writing, but yes, my husband and kids will be sad for you. I went to the watch party with my husband to um when the US lost the most
Oh,
one. I
against
was pretty
Belgium.
sad. He was
Yeah.
like, "This isn't even." Yeah, yeah. It was a sad day, but that's
That was
like
a
the
sad
only one that I
day.
even watched the whole thing. I'm sorry.
They're usually much better than that.
Right, and
I mean, the USA isn't usually much better, but the games are generally
right,
much better. Yeah.
yes. So it's been on at my house constantly. My husband works from home, and he's been
Nice.
doing similar. Like he was downstairs watching it on the projector earlier. Wasn't even pretending to work that time. Like a lot of times he has it on his screen while he's working.
Oh, yeah, I can't do
And
that. I can't.
so, yeah,
I'm
but
too invested.
yeah, he wasn't even going to pretend. All right, so to get you to know something kind of random about you, in the Fablehaven
Okay.
books, the family makes friends with these magical creatures, right? Like especially the satyrs, they're
hmm
and come to the house and hang out with them. And so, what magical creature would you love to befriend? And tell us about your friendship with this magical creature.
It would have to definitely, no question, be a Pegasus.
Oh,
Ever since
awesome.
I was a kid, like a little kid, I mean, what little kid isn't obsessed with
Right?
unicorns and stuff? But for me, like Pegasus, because I just love the idea of like being able to go anywhere and having my own like personal flight. As an adult now, like escaping traffic and stuff like that. So yeah, I've always loved. I'm one of my great goals as an author is to write a Pegasus book, and I haven't done it yet. I came close with Skyboard because the characters all have wings, but I
Oh,
would
okay. I
love
was going
to
to
write a
ask if
book
there are
about
Pegasus in there.
Pegasus.
Okay.
No, but
Yes.
that book is yet to come. They're my
So
favorite.
it makes me think of in Skywriters, they like bond with their
Yeah,
Pegasus and like
those covers are so
communicate with
pretty.
them kind of. I think it was mentally, I can't remember. But yes, like that kind of thing where you're just so connected with them, or
Yeah.
Scandor and the Unicorn Thief or something like that.
hmm
Yeah, that's awesome.
I love books with animal bonds in them.
That is so
So
cool.
I'd love to write one day.
Do you ride horses?
I did growing up. I was a horse girl. Yeah,
Awesome.
I rode, I did lessons, I worked at a stable. Yeah, I was always around horses. So I feel like I've got the the experience for that
All
one.
right, we just get to flap some wings on that horse and just,
Yeah, let's
well,
go.
love it. Okay, tell us, Jessica, what is Monster and Apprentice about?
So, Monster and Apprentice is about a boy named Roland. He's 13 years old. He's grown up on the streets. He's been basically abandoned and abused by his father, who is a crime lord. And he runs afoul of the law one too many times. He's on his way to prison for good when he is given one way out, and that is to become the apprentice to the Arcanist, who is a monster hunter. So in Roland's world, there are these terrible monsters that haunt the darkness, and they're called cryptics. And cryptics are created from secrets. So you keep a secret too long, something dark or embarrassing or shameful that you don't want anyone else to know. Eventually, that secret's going to escape your head. It's going to grow claws and fangs, and when it's big enough, it will return to hunt you down. So it's the Arcanist's job to fight these monsters, to protect the city and the people from their own darkest secrets. And Roland becomes the very, at first, unwilling apprentice to this big, scarier warrior named Luke, and he has to learn whether A, he wants to be an apprentice and follow this
Okay.
life, and if he even has the ability to do so. So, if you love monster hunting, like action, humor, it's got a lot of fast-paced battle scenes in it, and a lot of heart as well.
And just sassy little characters and grumpy old men. And I love the
Yes.
characters. I can't
Thank
remember
you.
the last time I fell so in love with characters. Like,
Oh, yay.
love Roland and Luke. Evane, do I say your name right? Is it Evane?
Yes.
Vane and Anaya, and yeah, such strong characters, especially Roland and Luke. They're such a great pair. I love those guys. They make me laugh. My kids love it. And constant predictions. It leads so well
Mm.
to like constant predictions because I didn't realize, and maybe I missed this. Is it intended that the cryptic goes to hunt the original secret, who the secret's about, to hunt that individual, or just whoever it can get to?
It is. They will hunt down anybody in their path at
Okay,
first.
but they're
But
trying
the
to
way it
get.
goes is the biggest ones, the oldest, nastiest ones, eventually they're going to try to find
They're
whoever
trying to
created them.
find whose secret it
Yes.
belongs to. Okay,
Right.
nice. It's like almost like their comeuppance, especially if it was a bad secret, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So yeah, there's constantly, I don't think I've had my boys like make so many predictions. My
Oh.
little 6-year-old, she like runs away when we get reading it because I try to get my voice all into it, especially during the scenes, and so she can
Oh
tell
my
I'm
goodness.
building something up. So she'll run away and she'll be like,
Ah.
Mom, stop it. And I'm like, well, go in the other room, honey, you'll be okay. And I really don't think it's going to be that intense, but just go in the other room. And
There are some intense moments. Oh,
yeah.
that's fair.
But yeah, it's fun to see her just she can feel the, whole atmosphere change, but the boys get so into it. They're just like, "Oh, I have a prediction." They like it's almost like in class because they're interrupting me. So they're like, "I have a prediction. Excuse me, can I interrupt?" And they
Oh, I love that.
tell us whose secret they think it is or who they think it's going to get, and it's been a lot of fun. I think it is perfect for a read aloud for classrooms and ooh, make wonderful book clubs.
I
Fantastic.
hope so. That's something I really thought about as I was writing it too. Becoming a parent changed
Yeah.
some of the ways that I write.
Oh,
And
cool.
one of those ways is writing shorter chapters so
Yeah.
you can fit it all in, in a 15, 20-minute time slot, and then making sure each one ends on a really good hook so that
Yes.
the kids are begging for more but when you're finished. So I love read aloud. I read to my kids every night, and that's always something kind of in the forefront of my mind is not just the kid who's reading it, but the parent or the teacher or the
Right.
grandparent who's reading it with
How's
them.
this interaction
Yeah.
going to go? Yes. Actually, there was one, like sometimes they'll ask, what's the next chapter called when they're getting excited? And the 10-year-old was constantly like, read one more chapter, read one more chapter. But they knew they had this theater camp starting early in the morning the next day, and they knew they were so tired. So they're just like going to bed. And so I knew they weren't going to ask for one more chapter. So I said, guys, do you want to know what the chapter tomorrow is called? And they were like, okay, but we can't do another one. And I was like, okay, it's called butter just because I thought that was so fun that I knew that wasn't going to get them on that one. But
The
usually, the
exciting
chapter that
prospect
was
of
called
butter.
Kidnapped totally got them needing
Yeah.
more chapter. But just as like a nice little joke on that one, they were just like, are you kidding me? But it was fun. It was fun that butter, a chapter called Butter can end up being exciting too. So they were like,
Yes, it can.
still there. Yeah, it was super fun. Okay, so tell us about world building. How did this go? Because I thought this was such an incredible world. You said you're keeping in mind like the readers and the read alouds, but as you write, does this world building come very naturally, or do you go back and make sure that we're experiencing this world as you go?
I love world building. It's my favorite part. I have to be careful not to get carried away.
Right?
Um, because world building for me is like the most fun part of telling a story. It's pure play. It's like you're in a giant sandbox. And with this book, and usually with all my books, when I'm just writing, like usually the first draft, I tend to underwrite. So I only
Okay.
put in the world building that is necessary to the plot, the things that keep the plot moving, and then I tend to go back in and layer in the details and bring a little bit more richness and nuance and backstory to the world building. So, like for this one, of course, the major like center of the world building comes from the monsters, the cryptics, how they're created, where they come from, and this connection between the secrets and the secrets coming to life and turning into monsters. So a lot of the world for me grew out of that. Like what kind of world would this be if you had monsters? What would people do? How would they react? They would stay in their city. They would keep
Right.
lamps lit all night because darkness is where these monsters are able to grow. So just kind of asking questions about this one central thing that I know so that it kind of branches out in all different directions of society and the world and how people talk and their religion and their way they dress and
Mm.
the so I think it helps me when I'm world building, focus on what is most important, like the
Yeah.
key core heart of the world,
Right.
and don't get too distracted by anything that isn't related to that, especially with kids.
Right.
They don't need too much. Their imaginations are so alive and active.
And they
You only
just
have to
believe
give
it.
them a few.
They
They
accept,
do.
right?
They
They
buy
do not
it.
need too many explanations because that's my
Yes.
husband's problem with fantasy is he's just like, well, just if it's magical, you can just do whatever you want. And I'm like, yeah, isn't it great? And I'm like, kids don't need all these
Yeah.
explanations about why the magic. They're just like, okay, got it. I believe it.
Yes. Though they will, if you make a mistake and contradict yourself,
Oh,
they
yes.
always pick up on it. I've had that with Mystwick, where I
Oh,
think in one of
sure.
the books there was a small, like I made a small error with the magic,
Uh-huh.
and I get so many letters from kids. They are so
Oh,
smart
oh
and they are so
man.
tuned in, so I have to be really careful.
Right? Oh man, I picture that. Yeah. Trying to keep all the things straight. My kids actually just this week were asking, what's the deal with truth again? Why do they keep saying truth? And so
Yes.
we started talking about that and saying, okay, well that's what's the importance of secrets? And so
hmm
it worked really well to talk about why truth and then the religion. I was like, because think about it, it's sacred, and as we were
hmm
talking about the importance of the religion to many of the people, and they were like, oh, okay, okay.
Yep.
So yeah, that was fun. Super fun. Okay, so when you had the initial idea, tell us how did you wake up one day and you were like, got it, secrets? Or did you have Roland? Tell us how this initial idea
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
and the backstory creating this.
So it was actually the first one. I literally woke up one morning and I knew the entire story. And
Awesome.
this is a very, very rare thing. This has only ever happened to me. This is my 16th book to be
Right.
published. And this has only ever happened to me one other time. But I woke up, I knew the whole story, and
Yes.
I immediately was like, had chills. And so it was a
Oh,
Thursday morning, and we just happened to have a break from school. That was one of the long weekends off of school. So I put the kids in my car, drove them to their grandparents' house, dropped them off, and said, I'll be back in a few days. I have to go write.
I'll be back in a
And
few
I
days. I
did.
got
I
something to do.
drove home and I just started writing. And I wrote for like 3 or 4 days straight
Nice.
and ended up writing about half of Monster and Apprentice that weekend.
Awesome.
Um, and again, that is super, super rare for
Yeah.
me as a writer to be like that inspired. But I had the whole story, I had the characters, I had the plot, I had the world all in there, and I knew I had to get it all out while it was still like so bright and vivid in my mind.
Yeah.
Um, and it just felt like something special from the start. And again, not all of my books are like that. Usually there's many more drafts and I'm hammering things out and I'm changing things. This was one of the easiest books I've ever written. And I feel like it's strange to say that because there was a lot of work that still went into it afterward, of
Right.
course.
Yes.
But
The endless
it was
edit. And
Yeah, it was a
it
very
was
clean, easy,
yes.
easy one to tell.
Okay.
I've had books very, very different experiences with many of my other books, though.
Mystwick was the debut and it came out
Mm.
in 2019.
Mystic was my debut middle grade novel.
Okay.
I had several young adult books before that
Okay.
one.
Because I'm like,
Yeah.
holy 16 books from nine or from, because yeah, I was just about to be like, holy cow, girl.
The
Mystwick,
skincare
16
routine
books.
is immaculate.
Holy cow.
But no, so this is year 15. 16
Okay.
books in 15. Wait. No, no, I'm not going to do math.
Approximately a book a year though. Okay.
Approximately.
That
Yes.
seems more doable. Okay. But wow. All right. So, one thing that I think of a lot, especially with fantasy books, and especially as I try to write as well, and I am writing fantasy, this is what we talk about on my podcast is about themes and how to talk about books with kids. But a lot of times authors do think themes. Like when I was talking to Jasmine Warga, she was like, yeah, I did want to have this book a lot about this theme of anxiety and found family. And
Mhm.
sometimes they're thinking themes as they're writing. But what about for you when it's fantasy?
Yeah.
Are you like, yeah, this is going to be a great theme. We're going to, talk about Roland coming into himself and seeing his self-worth, and I'm going to put all of this in, or is it a happy little occurrence when themes happen in fantasy?
Hmm. For me, theme is usually the last thing.
Okay.
I usually don't know what the theme is until I finish the first draft.
Okay.
I know like kind of what it'll be about.
Right.
Obviously, this book, when I started writing it, I knew secrets would be a big theme.
Yes.
Telling the truth would be a big theme. But I feel like they weren't the theme of the
Right.
book. The theme of the book is found in the relationship between Roland and Luke. So Roland's discovering that he needs an adult in his life. He needs a safe place, and he needs to learn to trust an
Right.
adult because he's grown up in a world where he has no reason yet to trust adults. Everyone around him has rejected him or hurt him, and so he's really built up this wall between
Yes.
himself and the grown-ups
That is
around him.
awful. Not just
So
lacked, but yeah,
it
awful.
is, it is. I feel like it's a fantasy novel, but that is something that sadly does commonly
Happen.
happen in our world.
Yes. Yes.
Um, to kids and to adults alike.
Yes.
And then, so that was a big theme that emerged as I was writing it. And the secondary theme comes from Luke as the warrior, the older father figure in the story, also opening himself up. And he's built a lot of walls as
Yeah.
well. And he has to learn to take the risk of loving someone again after he's lost everyone that he's loved in his life. And
Yeah.
so for him, it's about opening himself up to Roland and letting go of the anger that he's been carrying over the loss of his family in his past. So those themes for me weren't really. It wasn't like I sat down and when I started writing that Thursday morning, like these are the themes that are going to be in the book.
Right.
Those
Right.
are when I finished that first draft, I looked back and was like, okay, here's what it's about. Now I know what
Yes.
it's about. That's where I usually spend my focus when I'm doing my revisions and my rewrites is helping those themes shine brighter and kind
Yeah.
of dusting away all of the stuff that gets in the way of
Right.
letting
Where
them
it didn't
sing.
agree with that
Yeah.
theme, something that maybe you want
Right.
and or how to make that
Yeah.
theme stronger. Okay.
Sometimes it's hard. Like sometimes I have to cut away themes
Oh,
that are
yeah.
really good and really strong, but I think especially when you're writing for kids, like having that one thing sing out
Yes.
loud and clear is really important. And so peeling back the stuff that's unnecessary to really not that strengthens not only the theme, it strengthens the characters, it gives you clarity on the plot. So for me, I think the most fun part of the story is when I get to the end and I realize, oh, this is what this book is actually about. This is the
That's
heart
cool.
of the story. And it's always a magical moment. Then comes the
That's
hard work of
cool.
like making it live up to that vision.
Yes. But I love that you get to experience it the way that the readers do, that you're going on this journey and then you're realizing it, just like readers are like, oh, I see it.
It really is like that.
It's
You
great.
know, people tend, I think, have a vision, especially kids. When I was a kid, I had this vision in my head of writers like magical people who just have constant inspiration
Yes.
flowing out of them. Unfortunately, it's not always like that most of the time. It's hard work and it can be boring work. It can be difficult and there's writer's block and all these things that get in the way. But it's like those little moments where it's like a light bulb goes off and you understand what you're actually doing with the story, where it needs to go and how to get it there. Those are the magic moments that I think that I live for as a writer.
Oh, is there one that you can think of? Sorry to put it on the spot right here, but is there one
Hmm.
of those little moments that you can think of that whether this book or another one that you were like, oh, this would enhance this, or you just wrote it and you were like, yes, that is it.
There is a moment in Monster and Apprentice, and I won't
But
give
you
it
can't
away. It
tell
is
us
a
because
bit of
that's
a
a spoiler
spoiler.
moment.
Yeah, but there is a moment where it clicked for book two. Like
Okay.
when I was writing the story, it was kind of like just this story. And
Okay.
I wasn't really thinking of a series or what would happen after this point. But there was a moment, you see, you told me you're where you've read to, so it's before where you've read. But
Okay, good.
I'm not gonna spoil it.
But we can't tell for
But
everybody
there's a
else, right?
moment where I was like, this is where we go into a series. So I finished book two. It's off through copy edits. I'm illustrating it
Nice.
right now. And that was like a big clarity moment. Like I can see this whole other dark side to this magic and this world that has to be explored because I've thought of it and now I have to go there. I have so many questions.
Right.
So yeah, there's another book too, Last of Her Name, which is my retelling of Anastasia in space. It's very Star Warsy.
Oh,
And that
cool.
was when where I was driving one day and just thinking through the plot and like I feel like it's missing something. I don't know what it is. And I got this idea for the plot twist in that book that was so strong, I literally had to stop driving. I had to pull over and just sit and
Right.
breathe and write it down because it changed absolutely everything about the book. And
Cool.
it's a plot twist nobody's ever guessed, and I love it.
Nice.
Um, but moments like that, oh my goodness. I wish you could just produce them on command, but you can't. You
Right?
just have to
You're
kind
like,
of, they
I'm
just
gonna
have to
need one of
happen
these, put it in the
naturally.
vending machine. I
Yeah,
need this now.
gosh,
Magical
that
moment.
would be nice. I wish.
E6.
Unfortunately, we have no control over that.
Oh
Just showing up
man.
and doing the work, and those moments come through.
Okay, so on that vein, in all of your interactions with kids, whether it be in person or through letters, is there a moment that they have said that just struck them that they were like, wow, when I read this? And of course, it can be any book because you won't have gotten very much response from
Mm.
Monster and Apprentice.
Yeah, because that it's just now come out. Um, yeah, there are several of those moments in my Skyborn trilogy because
Cool.
that is a trilogy that has a lot of major plot twists in it, a lot of very like dangerous, intense moments.
Yes.
Especially the end of book two, Call of the Crow. And sometimes I feel almost guilty for like how big of an ending that is. It's a pretty big cliffhanger, but book three is already out, so
Okay.
you don't have to worry about that anymore. Um, and that is when I get a lot of letters from kids like, "Oh, I couldn't stop sobbing. Why would you break my heart like this? But it was so
Yes.
perfect." And so that was one of my favorite twists in the I cried so much writing that book.
Oh, I love
So
to
it's really
hear that
nice.
an author was too, rather than be like, rather than typing and being like, and this was good, but the emotions there for the author
Yeah, the
too.
cackles come afterward. They definitely come
Yeah.
afterward. But in the moment, yeah, I do. I cried writing Monster and Apprentice. I cried writing the book. I usually have one moment in each of my books. But it's good because when it makes me cry, I feel like I've reached something real and true and important that needs to be told. So,
Yes. Okay. I'm feeling like we're just going to keep leading off of these moments in life. What was the moment
yeah.
that you knew that you were an author?
Um, I can remember it very clearly. I was 4 years old. I was in
Oh, so
preschool.
cool.
I the first book I ever read was a picture book by Sid Hoff called Danny and the Dinosaur.
Okay.
And I remember reading it. It was at bedtime with my mom, and I was like sounding out the words. I made it all the way to the end of the book. And the book, when it was published originally, it had a very sad ending for a
Oh,
picture book.
okay.
They've since gone back and revised it so it has a happy ending. Um, I was very confused for a while because I would pick up new copies of the book and read it, and I was like, "This is not what I remember. Am I
Right.
crazy?" But
Right.
then I've gone back and found older editions, and they did. They changed the ending.
Okay.
Um, But as
I'm
a
wondering if your
four-year-old,
four-year-old brain changed it to
I
something
know,
dramatic.
I really was thrown for a loop. But I remember finishing that book and I was devastated by the ending of the story. I don't want to spoil it. I don't know. Maybe there's a kid out there that wants to read Danny and the Dinosaur.
Okay.
But I went to preschool the next day and I took some pages out of my preschool notebook and I wrote like a 4 or 5 page story
Oh,
that was
so
basically fan fiction
yeah.
of Danny and the Dinosaur and gave it the ending that I wanted it to have.
Nice.
And my preschool teacher read it to my class for story time that day. And so I remember sitting there on like the story time circle rag, and all of my friends are listening to the story I read and seeing the illustrations that I drew. And that was the moment I knew, like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And that's never changed ever since.
Oh my gosh, Jessica, that is like tingles all over. I love that. I can't believe. And you were 4. Like I remember being in
Yeah.
playing in the sandbox or something.
Oh, I
But
did plenty of that
life
too.
altering moments in preschool with your writing, that is awesome. That is so
I I had the benefit of having a family that really supported me, read to me all the time, made sure I had books and things.
yes.
So, that's so important when you're a kid to
Yeah,
have that support, having parents who love books and who encourage it and make room and space for that in the day. And so I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for my teacher, my parents, and everyone at that point in my life.
that is so cool. I love it. All right, you've got to tell us then the later moment that led to you becoming published. What is your
Yeah.
debut book at all? What was the author debut?
My first book to be published was called Origin. It was a young adult novel about a 17-year-old girl who's created in a laboratory hidden in the Amazon rainforest. It's kind of Michael Crichton
Okay.
type science thriller story. And that book, I sold it. That was 2011 that I wrote it and sold it. And that was the other like magical moment where I had just graduated college a few months before, and I had spent the 4 years, no, 5 years. I spent 5 years before that writing basically a middle grade fantasy novel that I like poured everything into. I did everything right. I wrote it, I rewrote it, I got feedback, I wrote it again. I thought it was like the best thing I could ever do. And
Yes.
then I couldn't get any agent for it. I couldn't get a publisher for it. And so I remember walking one day feeling really sorry for myself. Like,
Yes.
well, this dream I've had since I was
Yes.
4, it was a big mistake. What if I'm a terrible writer and
My
no one's
whole
just no one's
life.
telling me the truth? Just having this like the
Yeah.
whole pity party for
Right.
myself. And I was living in Georgia. It was in the summer. It was very hot, very humid, and I was walking through like the woods, and it was like a jungle. And this picture came into my mind of a girl trapped by glass walls and surrounded by jungle, and her name was Pia. And I was immediately like intrigued by this character that came out of nowhere. And I turned around and I started walking home. And by the time I got home, the whole story was in my head for Origin. And I wrote the first chapter that night, finished the first draft a month later, and found an agent like the next week. And then we
Oh,
sold it a
cool.
few weeks after that. So it was a very whirlwind experience. And again, the only other time that I've ever like seen the entire book from beginning to end in
Monster and
absolute
Apprentice,
4K.
right?
Yes, and Monster Apprentice is the other one. 16 books later, it
Yes.
finally happened again.
Oh,
Um, so that was the first book to come out, and then it came out in 2012 from Penguin,
nice.
and I've been writing ever since. So I feel very lucky
So
to
cool.
still be here. I love what I do so much.
Okay, so on that, I've seen on your socials and stuff, you talk about drawing.
Yes.
What amount of drawing happens in the books? Are any of these
Mhm.
yours, or is it more the stickers and cards that are included?
All of the artwork inside the book is mine,
Okay,
is my
cool.
work. Yeah. The cover is by a fantastic artist named Suzanne Helmai. She's
Okay.
wonderful and she does the cover work. I do the maps and I do
Okay.
all of the chapter illustrations as
Nice.
well.
Yes,
So,
we were one of the big monsters at the end. I was showing my kids. I was like, "Do you want to see the picture?" I was like, "You got to come close. It's not very big." But yes, we were looking at it and they were like, "Oh
yeah.
my gosh." Okay, cool. So you drew all that. Did you draw my little
I
sticker
did.
of Roland and Luke
Yeah.
that you
Yeah, the
sent?
little chippies. I did that sticker. I've done a lot of character art for this one. I
That's
just finished the first round of sketches for book 2.
Oh,
the
cool.
Monster Apprentice sequel. And then I have a new series coming out next year from Scholastic that is a little bit younger in age called
Okay.
My Not So Charmed Life. And that one is more of like a Dork Diaries, Wimpy Kid
Oh,
type
cool.
story. There's a ton of illustrations in it, and I've done all of those. I did the cover for that one as well.
Oh,
So that has been a really big kind of bucket list item for me. This
yes,
is Monster Apprentice was the first book I illustrated, and now I'm getting to expand in that more, and that's something I've always dreamed of doing. So
that is neat.
Monster is very special to me because it is, again, a first book where I
Yeah.
get to use my art as well as my words.
Cool.
So I'm really
So do you
excited about
always
it.
drew some drawings though, even though just
Oh
something
yeah.
fit it, even if it can't be in the book?
Oh yeah, definitely. In fact,
Cool.
when I'm drafting a book, the way that I get to know my characters is through drawing them, sketching
Oh,
them, because it's, when you're drawing them, you're just staring at their face for like
yes.
hours. And so it forces me to really focus on them and think about them as I work. And so I have so many notebooks. Goodness. I started drawing Ellie, the main character of Skyborn, when I was like 15.
Oh, cool.
And she's been with me longer than any other character through my artwork. So it's really a big, big part of my process. And this is the first time I'm just now getting to show it with like the finished book as well.
That is so cool. Yes, I always picture that if I was any good at art, that I would draw as I wrote, that I'd want to be like, I have these ideas, I've got
Yeah.
to put them into picture now. But a lot of times when I do talk to author illustrators, they'll be like, no, I write the story and then I draw the pictures. And I'm like, really? There's got to be people out there that would work like I would if I had that talent. So that's cool.
I do. I love development art. The like finished books, like the artwork you see in the finished copy, a
Yes.
lot of that has to come after because I'm like, I don't know what's going to be in that chapter yet. It might get edited or cut out. Who knows? So I don't commit to the art until then. But generally when I'm writing, I'm
Just
just
some fun
sketching
ones
it.
to get to know them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that are like for me, for sure. And those a lot of those will never be shared. A lot of it is terrible.
But it's still fun. You're still making
It is.
connections. These moments of connections with
Yeah.
your characters that you wouldn't have otherwise, right?
Yeah, sometimes, when I feel like I'm not in the story, I'm not in the character's head. It's like my trick or my cheat code to get back inside like that world and that brain of that character.
Loving it. Okay. That's well you've already answered my question, but is there anything else that's coming that you can tell us about? You've got the illustrated one and another Monster
Hmm.
Apprentice. How far do you know how far in the
Yes.
series Monster Apprentice will go? Is it a duology? Will it be three, four?
Right now it's the two books. I'm hoping to do more. So
Okay.
we'll see. Hopefully my publisher greenlights that. Because I have a lot more ideas in this world. But either way, there will be a second book coming out next summer.
Excellent.
I don't know if I can share the title of that one yet, so I better not. I don't want to get
Okay.
myself in
Okay.
trouble.
Right. Yes, I know how
But
that goes.
it does have a title. It's all finished. It's ready to go. Later on this fall, you will see the fourth and final Mystwick School of Musicraft series book come out.
Okay.
So
Is it
it
going
is
to be a
in,
tangible? Because I'm trying to think if we have the
yeah.
third. And was it in paperback
So
when it happened?
the third book is in paperback. So the first two books were published by HMH, who unfortunately doesn't exist anymore.
Ah,
So but I
that
am
yes.
putting out the final books. So it's an Audible series first. Audible is the primary publisher on those. So they are doing the recording now for the music
Cool.
for the fourth book. And then 6 months later is when I can release it in paperback. And I hope to do hardcover editions as well. I am working on that. So
Yes,
that
because
I
I
have a lot
want
of
them to
readers who want
all
them
be
all.
hardcover together.
Yeah,
That's like
I
me when I have
know.
like sitting over there. There are some that are paperback and hardcover, especially
Yeah,
if you've given like the kids the paperback first and then they want the next book that
right.
comes out. It's like, okay, well, now you have
Yeah.
something that just doesn't look as good on yourself. And I'm sorry for you because that bothers. So,
Aesthetics are important. I want
yeah,
those shelves. So
yeah.
I do plan to release though. It'll definitely be in paperback, hopefully in hardcover as well, if I can
Cool.
get all of the. I'm just so busy, all
Yeah.
of it lined
Holy
up. But
cow.
yeah, the fourth and the final Mystwick book comes out later this fall, and
Cool.
then my new Scholastic series, My Not So Charmed Life, will start, I believe, in February or March.
Okay.
Monster and
So
Apprentice book two in the summer. There'll be two more Not So Charmed Lives at least to come after that. And then I have a new big adult romantasy series coming out in
is this
2028.
going to be your first adult?
I have one adult.
Okay,
Well,
you have one other adult.
last year I had a book called The Moor Witch that came
Okay.
out, and it is crossover young adult,
Kind of new
adult.
adult thing
Yeah,
going
it's right
almost.
on that kind of that line. It's totally suitable for like older teens.
Okay.
But my first like adult adult.
Cool.
fantasy will be
Cool.
coming out in 28. But I can't say anything more about that
Okay,
yet.
that one's hush hush. Okay.
That is still a
Holy
little
cow,
hush
that
hush.
you're
Yeah.
on fire. You're like, that is more than one a year, Jessica. Let me tell you.
Goodness.
That is more
I'm
than one
pretty
a year.
busy. I'm pretty busy these days, but I love it. I
Good.
can't sit still. You know, in publishing, there's a lot of downtime. Like you send a book
Yeah.
off, and then
In
it's like
between.
months before
Right.
you get edits. I
Yes.
can't just sit around doing nothing.
Right.
So I tend to
You've got more
fill all
ideas.
my time. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Excellent. Okay, so then can you share with us a book that you yourself have loved, a children's book? Any?
Mm. I've read a lot of really good books this year. I've read a lot of really good middle grade books this year. One I recently finished and absolutely adored was called Nell Odell Hates
I
Quests.
haven't read it, but I've
Do
seen
you
it and
have
wanted
it?
to. Yes.
Yes,
Tell me
I
about
by
it.
Emily Martin. Emily lives close to me. I've met her several
Oh,
times.
cool.
She's so lovely.
Okay.
She's a park ranger, national parks, and you
Okay.
can see a lot of that in her books. She's also a phenomenal artist, and so she's done gorgeous illustrations for Nell Odell. I absolutely love that book. It made my heart grow when I read it. It's just one of those books that fills you up with warm fuzzies, and it's so, so good. And then what else? Oh, I recently read The Magic Library of Waterfall Way by Julie Abe,
I
who
haven't even heard of that
wrote
one.
she wrote the Ava Evergreen books,
Okay.
which I also loved. It's very fun. It's very like Studio Ghibli or Witch Hat Atelier for kids who like that kind of thing.
Cool.
What else? I have a great new YA coming out called Dread Chaser by Lauren Tommen
Mm.
that comes out in January. It's really good. It's got a great boy protagonist. It's very like kind of Mad Max type story,
Cool.
and
Cool.
it's really fun. I've had a lot of really like a whole slew of like five star amazing reads.
Yes, that is the best when you get those.
Yeah,
When I have a hard time giving 5 stars because I want that to be reserved for like, yes, right?
I hear
I'm like,
you.
this is amazing. So I give more because I rate on a half star system. Like a half
Nice.
star, a 4.5 star gets a 5 star, but
Hmm.
there are some books that are just those 5 stars that are just like, this is incredible, and I'm always gonna love it, right?
Yes, yes.
I love those moments. Love it so much when you get a 5 star. So, Monster and Apprentice, one of these for me. What if somebody has loved reading Monster and Apprentice? What is your
Mhm.
book that you would tell them to read next?
Well, if they haven't read my Skyborn trilogy, that one for sure.
Okay.
They're very vibey. They have a lot of the same feel to them. But also, if you like Monster and Apprentice, I would say pick up Wilderlore by Amanda Foody.
Yes, I
Actually, the same
love it
publisher
when
and same
that.
editor
Is it? Okay,
as
cool.
as
Here, it's right here.
um
Right here.
yes, it's a really fun one. And I would definitely give that to kids who like this one. If they like magical creatures, adventure,
Awesome. Yeah,
found family and friendship. It's got a lot of the same themes in it. So definitely check that one out.
excellent. Thank you so much for talking to us today, Jessica, and for the amazing books that you write.
Thank you for having me on. It was such a pleasure. And thank you for reading the book.
Yes. I hope that you enjoyed hearing about Monster and Apprentice, and I hope you go out and get this book soon because it is awesome. If you enjoy my podcast, Book Huddle, I would really appreciate it if you could take a second and rate and review Book Huddle on your podcast platform. That really helps the podcast to grow and helps more listeners to find these great books.